First, let's pay homage. Let's pay homage to the lineage gurus. Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming. Homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong. Homage to His Holiness the 16th Karmapa. And homage to Master Dubdan Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. Homage to the main deity of Homa today, Haraya, Manohara Vasudhara, Sumo, Tanzan Capital, Tutan City, Manohara, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, directors of temples and chapters, and all disciples present here and over the internet. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do?
Hola amigo.
Hola amigo.
Te quiero mucho.
Te quiero mucho. Sugoi.
Kimoji. Jumi. Yapi. Pudding pudding. Konnichiwa.
Now I would like to announce for next Sunday. It's May already. For next Sunday, May 2nd at 3 p.m. at the Rainbow Villa. There will be Uchusma Homa fire offering ceremony. And Uchusma was emanated from Sakyamuni Buddha's heart. So he flowed from Sakyamuni Buddha's heart, a Vajra deity. I remember when I made the Bodhisattva vow, one of the three precept teachers, one is the Venerable Elder Jie Guang from Hong Kong, and the place was Bisan Yen Temple in Nantou. And the three precepts teachers, one of them was Jie Guang, the Venerable Jie Guang, and the Venerable Xian Dun, and the Venerable Hui San. Of these three precept teachers, one of them, the Venerable Hui San, he focuses on the practice of Uchusma. So he gave me the practice procedure or sadhana of Uchusma. The Venerable Hui San, one of the three precept teachers, gave me the Uchusma sadhana. At that time, I had the crew cut on my hair, and I work at the map
然后到
manufacturer,
是
and I went to the Bisanyan
前
temple.
面有一条河，
In front of it, there's a river,
这碧山岩寺的旁边
and next to the temple
忠烈祠啊，我的印象是这样。
is Zhongli Ci of Nantou.
差不多30岁吧。啊，那时候
I was about 30 then, so the Venerable Elder Hui San gave me
灰基金刚的法本，
Uchisana Sadhana or practice procedure.
当然了，这一尊灰基金刚，
Of course, this deity, Uchisama,
我们有讲过嘛，啊，
I have
有灌顶
taught
过。
about it and had conferred his empowerment before, yes.
他的心咒是
His heart mantra,
基如土烂轰热啊，他的手印是
and his mudra,
最难解的一个手印，
it's the most difficult one.
最难的一个手印，很难解的一个手印，这样。这个是解，要解的方方正正，要解的方方正正，而且那个中间那个印不能歪掉，一定要很直。这样，一定要很直。灰基金刚，表示他很有 power 的。
Especially the middle finger has to be straight.
这个日本人很奇怪，因为他是专门是除晦气的金刚神。
Because
有时候跟他相应，
Uchisama is very powerful. So Uchisama
跟灰基金刚相应，都会生男孩子。
Uchisama is to eradicate a filthy energy. And then if you gain spiritual response with Uchisama, you would bear a son. So that means a woman is filthy.
是专门供奉在厕所，
And Uchisama is especially enshrined at the toilets or bathroom in the Japanese Tantrayana.
供奉在最污秽的地方。
So Uchisama is being enshrined at the filthiest place because he specializes in eliminating filth.
那么我们今天做这个勾财天，
And
大家
today
也知道，
we did Manohara. We all know hook, hook,
勾财
hook.
天
The most famous Manohara, the wealth attracting goddess, or Haraya, the nickname. Grandmaster gave him her nickname.
他的咒语 Om Maro Hazya Hazya 是他的名字。Om
The mantra includes her name.
Inkusai Shet 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 Hom 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 Hey Soha. Om Maro Hazya Hazya Om Inkusai Inkusai Shet 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 Hom 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 Hey Soha. 那他结的手印就是金刚勾。
Manahariya, Hariya, Inkusa, Inkusa, She, 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 Hom, 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 Pe, Soha. So, and her mudra is a Vajra hook.
拿着金刚，
And she's 16-year-old girl. Her right hand is holding the Vajra hook, and her left hand is holding the treasure mouse.
这个以前的修法通通都讲过了。
So we have talked about the Dhamma practice in the past, and she's very responsive. Inkusai.
谢谢轰轰轰
Hum hum hum. It's the sound of her showering money.
谢轰轰轰，他撒钱的声音。
That's the sound. Hum hum hum. It's the sound of her distributing money, or showering money, throwing money. It should be ding 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 dang dang. But that would be just coins. That's worthless. But if she showers gold, gold is a very strange thing. The sound of gold is very different.
像这个声音，这个有点像黄金的声音。
This sounds a little bit like gold.
如果是掺杂了别的东西，它不会这样子响。
If it's not pure, it will not sound like this. This sounds like the sound of gold.
好像是黄金，你如果敲它，声音是不一样。
If you clang on gold, it made a different sound.
这一尊曾经有很多的感应。
This deity had many responses.
我们在进入说法之前
Before the Dharma teaching,
先讲一下一个笑话。
I would like to tell a joke.
有一次
One time,
结婚了，
the tiger is getting married, is having a wedding. All the animals attending, because if they don't attend, it'll be dangerous.
但是呢，都保持跟老虎
But they all
保持一段距离。
kept a distance from the tiger.
有一只猫呢，也
But there's a cat
它居然跳
also attending and got on the altar,
向老虎祝福。
and he extended his hand to congratulate the tiger, and the tiger roared, "How dare you come up on the stage?"
这个豹子都保持一段距离。
Even the leopard doesn't dare,
凶的
still keeps a distance.
这只猫呢，跟
He runs very fast.
老虎就吓到了。
And the cat said something that shocked the tiger. What did he say? He said, "Before marriage, I was also a tiger."
这个笑话很有意思。
This joke is quite meaningful.
这老虎结婚了，
The tiger is getting married.
老虎结婚，
So he definitely is married to a female
如
tiger.
果了解了母老虎的厉害，
If you know how
所有的老虎都会变成猫。
ferocious the female tiger is, then all male tigers would become cats.
就是
At night, when they come home,
拿下
they would take off their shoes
无声无响，
and they would tiptoe silently coming home. Then you would know how incredible female tigers are. And on the second morning, his face is clawed with marks of claws. So typically speaking, a female tiger has to be beautiful and capable. If a woman is very beautiful and capable, then she's typically very ferocious. Really, female tiger. If she's very capable and beautiful, then she would be terrible. It's very difficult to find a gentle one. 3 kinds: beautiful and capable and gentle. One endowed with all 3 doesn't exist in this world. Don't even dream of it. Beautiful and gentle and pretty. Don't think about it. If she's beautiful and capable, then she would be terrible. Typically, gentleness is combined with ugliness. Capable, but rather ugly. But to get a wife, you should get one that's very capable but looks ugly. So, very capable and rather gentle. You should marry this kind. But your lover, then she has to be beautiful. It doesn't matter if she's capable or not. And whether she's gentle or not, that's fine. So pay attention. Don't marry a very beautiful one, especially if she's capable, then you're dead. Now we'll do the question and answer. From Malaysia, Lian Hua, Long Cheng Ming. The same family name, the same name. My college classmate was called Long Cheng Ming too. My classmate was called Long Cheng Ming, but this is from Malaysia. Exactly the same name. It's very rare to find someone with Long family name. Anyone? Do you have a friend? Rong. My classmate was Rong Chengming and from Malaysia by the same name. Grandmaster, several times in my dream I encounter bad things. Luckily, I was calm and able to chant the 3-syllable mantra, Om Ah Hum, to transform them. Is there a special meaning to this 3-syllable mantra? How come it can transform difficulties into peace? These 3 syllables, the first question. It is called the 3-syllable mantra. And these 3 syllables is the center, the most important part of all mantras. Om Ah Hum. When I chant the offering mantra at the end, I would always chant Om Ah Hum. You want me to talk about the meaning to these 3 syllables? According to my guru, it will take half a year. Just these 3, Om Ah Hum, it will take 6 months. And you want me to say the meaning? All I can say, it's about clear light radiance. One of the meanings is brightness. Because you chanted Om Ah Hum, then of course all the bad dreams, the dark things, and you chant Om Ah Hum, because Om Ah Hum is brightness. And when it appears, of course, the bad dreams would be transformed. Om Ah Hum is the axle, the center of all mantras. All mantras originated from Om Ah Hum. And my guru said, in order to talk about their meanings, it's endless, at least 6 months. It will take at least 6 months. Like one of the meanings is about brightness or clear light radiance. And of course, by injecting brightness, all the bad dreams will be eradicated. One of the meanings is about brightness. Or light, clear light radiance. So you were able to chant Om Ah Hum, that's excellent. When we transform the food, when we make offering, we should also chant Om Ah Hum. Many mantras start with Om. And the last syllable is Hum. Many mantras. And Ah is the sit syllable of all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. If you don't know the sit syllable of a deity, then you can use Ah syllable. So Ah is the sit syllable of all deities. So each of the syllable or character is extremely great. Om, we can also say Om is the meaning of the whole universe or the cosmos, and Ah is all the yidams or deities. And Hum, we once said that that's the result, the fruit. All the fruits are embodied in this syllable Hum.
所以这三个字啊，非常
So these 3 syllables are extremely important. Om, ah, hum. Very important.
你看莲华生大师
So Guru Padmasambhava
Om Ahom Bhaja Guru Padma Siddhi Om 只是这样，前面3个字是 Om Ahom。
So it starts with Om Ahom.
当然，这个它有特别的意义，能够化困境转为安。
Of course, it has a special meaning and can transform difficulties into peace. And Om Ahom has the meaning of clear light, radiance, or brightness. The second question.
如破戒行为不正弘法人言，
If there is a Dharma propagator who has breached the precepts and has improper conduct, stays at the temple or spiritual center and leads group practice, will he taint other people? Should we keep him at a distance? If we let him among us, will we also fall? So a Dharma propagator breached precepts, has improper conduct, and stays and leads the group practice. Will he taint other people? Should we avoid him? If we don't avoid him and we attend the group practice, will he create bad influence? And then you would also have the same downfall. This is a big question. It is difficult to answer.
大家有对这个问题有意见吗？现在是征求大家的意见。这个问题有意见吗？对这个问题。他说
Anybody that has an opinion or comment?
本身有破戒。
The person leading the group practice has breached the precepts and does not comply with the Dharma rules. Can we attend his group practice?
大家的意见怎么样？
What do you think?
那赶快讲。
Please say it quickly.
这个很难回答。
This is very difficult to answer.
这个他有没有破戒？
Whether he has breached the precepts or not,
谁知道？
who knows?
那他有没有犯了这个堕戒？
Has he breached the precepts that cause downfalls? It's hard to know. Like the tantric basic or root 14 downfalls, if you violate any of them, that's the precepts that cause downfalls. But you don't know if someone has breached those precepts or not. This is really difficult to answer.
好吧，你请坐，你请坐。
Please be seated.
还有吗？还有意见吗？
Any other comment?
啊，中委会的那个处长在不在这里？
The director of TBF, Tribhuda Foundation.
师尊好，我是这么认为的，就是如果他是犯了根本十四堕的，
if he has breached the 14 root downfalls, then he should not lead group practice.
无论如何，他一定会影响到其他的同伴。
Because no matter what, he would influence other disciples. But like what the Venerable Lianjin said, if it's concealed personal precepts and it's impossible for us to know if he has breached precepts or not, if he does not affect the execution of the center and other fellow disciples, then it's okay to let him continue lead the group practice. But for us, if we know, then we would incite him to correct his behavior. Then there's hope and he can start over again. Thank you. He said it well. And Lianjin also said it well. But then that's it. I don't need to answer. You can answer for me. It should be like that. If everybody knows that he has truly breached the 14 root downfalls, then you should avoid him. Otherwise, you don't know if he has breached the precepts or not, then you still attend the group practice, because he will not talk about his breach of the precepts, so there should not be any bad influence. And his third question: in the practice of the four preliminary Dhamma practice, may we follow the practice procedure as outlined in your book number 275, The Fifth Teachings to the Path of Liberation? Thank you. In the book Fifth Teaching to the Path of Liberation on Authentic Fourfold Refuge, Dharma practice. In the practice of the four preliminary Dharma practices, may we follow the practice procedure as outlined in your book number 275, The Fifth Teaching to the Path of Liberation? Of course. Because it pinpointed on the most important meanings, and it's all in the teaching to the path of liberation. Many practices are superficial, like the practice procedure. So on top of the superficial practice procedure, you add the authentic or the true meaning to it. That's why it's called the authentic fourfold refuge practice. So authentic is added to it because from this four preliminary practices you have to gain spiritual response. And to gain spiritual response, you do the practice procedure and you add your authentic mind to it in order to gain spiritual response easily. Very simple. Of course, I wrote the procedure in my book. The fifth instruction is when chanting the fourfold refuge mantra, the Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha together radiate five colored lights upon the practitioner. Sometimes not everybody does this. When you chant the fourfold refuge mantra, Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha together radiate five colored lights upon the practitioner. This is the fifth instruction, the important key formula for the four preliminary practices. At the same time, the Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha secrete sweet nectar to fill and empower the practitioner. When you chant the refuge mantra, Namo Gurupe, Namo Buddhaya, Namo Dhammaya, Namo Sanghaya, you also want to have them to fill you with sweet nectar and empower you, give you empowerment. And the whole body is relaxed and at ease. The mind and spirit are purified and at peace, and the good fortune and wisdom are enhanced. So by chanting the refuge mantra, you would have light and nectar to empower the practitioner. This is the key formula. Refuge mantra. You don't just chant it like that. You have to visualize Guru, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha to radiate five colored light upon you. And they empower you, confer empowerment on your crown using their sweet nectar. And then the black smoke was expelled from your skin pores. That's why it's called the authentic fourfold refuge. You put your heart and mind into it in chanting the refuge mantra, not just chanting it with your mouth. And it's a kind of Dharma practice. Then you would have a success or attainment faster. So you can use the practice procedure in the book Path Teachings to the Path of Liberation to do your practice, because inside that books they are all path instructions or key formulas. Next, asked by Lianhua Hui Si from Malaysia. Wholeheartedly, Homitsu Grandmaster, I would like to ask a question about your book Supernatural Drifting. There's an article on the heart teaching of Buddha Dharma. You wrote, that you transmitted the Huang Ting Jing, or the yellow cord scripture to 4 earth gods who were controlled and manipulated by a Taoist using the 7 life-taking needles. All they had to do was chanting 100 times of the scripture. The jade scripture of the outer scene of the yellow cord, the jade scripture of the middle scene of the yellow cord, and the jade scripture of the inner scene of the yellow cord. Then their original spirit became transparent. In the Usnisha Vijaya Sutra, it was also mentioned the virtuous dwelling heavenly prince, because his fortune and merits were about to be exhausted, Sakyamuni Buddha transmitted the Usnisha Vijaya mantra to him, that by chanting it for 7 days and nights, he was able to extend his lifespan. I would like to ask Grandmaster, Does chanting mantra produce faster result for a god than for a human being? Because I see so many people continually chanting and doing Buddha's work, but their faiths don't seem to change much. Yet the virtuous dwelling heavenly prince only needed to chant Usnisha Vijayatharani for 7 days and nights, and he avoided his downfall into the animal and human realm, where he would have suffered extreme poverty. Moreover, he was able to extend his lifespan to infinity. Please be compassionate and explain. Thank you. This question. There are 3 parts to the yellow cord scripture. The outer scene of the yellow cord, the middle scene of the yellow cord, outer, middle, and inner scene of the yellow cord. 3 sections. I heard that one of them had been missing. And the earth gods just chanted 100 times of the jade scripture of the outer scene of the yellow cord, the jade scripture of the middle scene of the yellow cord, and the jade scripture of the inner scene of the yellow cord. And the original spirits became transparent. And in the Usnisha Vijaya Sutra, it was mentioned that the virtuous dwelling heavenly prince, his fortune and merits were about to be exhausted, but Sakyamuni Buddha transmitted the mantra to him, and chanting 7 days and nights, he was able to extend his lifespan. He thought that the god chanting is better than a human being, because a human being chanted for a long time and the faith stays poor. Chanting Usnisha Vijaya mantra for 7 days and nights, and they haven't changed their faiths, but the gods did. So what happened? So his question is, a god chanted and his destiny changed, but a human being chants and his fate has not changed. Think about it and answer. Someone raised his hand. Oh, 7 days in heaven are different from 7 days on earth. So 1 day in heaven is the same as 1 year on earth. So 7 days in heaven is the same as 7 years on earth. What did you base it on? That 1 day in heaven is the same as 1 year on earth. You were watching the TV series. Don't you think there's a problem here? How come their faces stay the same after 70,000 years? You know, when you check that TV series about the peach blossom field for 3 lifetimes. So even after tens of thousands of years, their faces don't change at all. And Grandmaster has passed only for 70 years, and I already look so old like this. I think the English name is called Eternal Love. Eternal Love. When I was young, although I was short, I wasn't tall, but I was quite handsome. But now I'm old.
你要回复到过去的英俊潇洒，就不一样了年轻的时候。
If you want to, how can you go back to your youthfulness?
一下子又是300年。
And for them, what 70,000 years, or in a short moment it's 300 years, and their faces all look the same, did not change. So it was all made up, just fantasy. It's a fiction. All these things are written by humans. Of course, in heavens, days and nights are different. So heavenly God chanting for the heavenly God and for human being is different. Let me see. Why a heavenly God chanting receives response really quickly and not for a human being? No opinion. She doesn't want to tell me. So my personal opinion, let me share. According to the Siddhigarbha Sutra, the thoughts of human being and behavior are all karma. So it's very easy for a human being to preach, to create karma. So when you chant the Usnisha Vijaya Dharani, you have to chant it much more than the heavenly God. And the heavenly God has already had a great fortune and merits in order to become a god. And the same with earth gods, that they already have great merits, fortune and virtues. The earth god is called the proper god of virtues and fortunes. And for the heavenly God, the virtuous dwelling heavenly prince, of course, he has greater fortune and merits. And he did not create karma, so his chanting would result in faster result. And for human beings, often, while they are chanting mantra or chanting sutra, they are creating karma at the same time. So that's why it's being discounted. So for a human being in their spiritual cultivation, mantra and sutra chanting, at the same time they're creating karma all the time. With a thought, an action, that's karma. Huh? What? So in their chanting mantra and sutra is already discounted. because it's easier for a human being to create karma, and it's not so easy for a heavenly God to create karma.
这是回答马来西亚
That's the answer to Lian Hua Hui Si from Malaysia.
马来西亚莲花丽红问
From Lian Hua Li Hong from Malaysia,
密教界
Grandmaster.
金刚灵除
In Tantric precepts, there is one precept which states that a practitioner always carries a Vajra bell and scepter with him or her.
双命
Does it refer to the physical Vajra bell and scepter? Are they visualized, or are they just symbols of the dual execution of compassion and
告
wisdom?
诉到
There is a precept that states that a practitioner always carries a Vajra bell and scepter.
在西藏
Tantrika, in his spiritual cultivation in Tibet,
差不多有18年的
they have to practice about 18 years of Mahayana practices.
加上密教就是
And
20年的功夫，有20年
And with the tantric practices, there would be 20 years.
家的喇嘛
Ordained Lama,
金刚灵除不离身，当然好像随身你出去
they always carry the Vajra bell and scepter.
灵除
When you travel, you carry the small Vajra bell and scepter.
金刚灵除，这个就是金刚灵除不离身。
So that means that the Vajra bell and scepter always accompany you wherever you go.
你到了哪个地方都有金刚灵除。
That wherever you go,
像师尊
there are Vajra bell and
在
scepter.
南山雅舍有
Like for Grandmaster at the South Mountain Retreat, Grandmaster has a Vajra bell and scepter there. At the Tantric Quarter, there are also Vajra bell and scepter.
都有金刚灵除。
And on the Dharma throne, there always are Vajra bell and scepter.
山庄也有金刚。
At the Rainbow Villa too, there are Vajra bell and scepter.
虽然不是说永远带在身上，到处
Although you don't carry it with you all the time, that you always ring as you walk.
东西也不是很容易带。你说
It's not very easy to carry them with you, on you. You cannot carry them in your pockets.
出门买东西你也将开。
Wherever you go out, and you're just ringing the bell.
跟喇嘛，他住在喇嘛庙，金刚灵除只是说要用的时候就有，要用的
But
时
the
候
lamas, well, you know that they are always available when you need them.
因为
That's what.
在西藏所有的喇嘛大部分都是男的，
Because in Tibet, most of the lamas are males, and the
我
nuns wear white. Only very few. I had visited the Kandan temple, and the Drepung monastery, the Drepung Losling monastery.
会叫做洛斯林，
And the Drepung monastery have two factions. One is Losling,
名的喇嘛在听我讲，
and I give Dharma teaching there,
我讲
attended by thousands of lamas, and I taught tantric teachings. And the abbot told me,
在写显教的东西，
and they were still studying Mahayana practices,
做密教的心灵，
that they had not received any
显教
training
显密合一，
of
在
tantric
洛斯林说法，
practices.
然后我到了甘蔗
So you need to have the foundation of Mahayana practices, both Tantrayana and Mahayana.
甘树博士。
So I went to the Kantan temple,
甘丹世博树的旁边，
Kantan Suposu. Next to it, there was a small temple for the nuns.
也有比
And they said,
数量
although we have nuns also, but only very few.
全部都是男众。
Most of the ordained lamas were males
另
or
外
men.
还到了折棒树的
and I also went to the Drepung Monastery's Kanten Tripa temple. And at Kanten Tripa's temple, they hang an image of Grandmaster there. And at the Kanten Supo residence, there was also an image of Grandmaster. So there was a tantric precept that states that a practitioner always has Vajrabala and scepter with him or her. It refers to the physical Vajrabala and scepter, that they are always available whenever you need them. It's not that you're carrying in your pockets, that they're always protruding up or here on your chest, protruding. In the past, Master Dupten Dorje told me, you use the 5-colored thread to use the Vajra knots and then hang it on your waist. That's used by Tibetans when they walk in the mountains. That on their body they have a Vajrapurva, like a Vajrapurva. Is that you can use it as a self-defense weapon. And Master Dupten Dorje, you can use a rather thick 5-colored thread and to tie the Vajrapurva around your waist. It looks a little bit, it's kind of pointed, it looks a little bit like knife, you know. But nowadays in America, maybe there's some use because they have racism against Asians. If someone is trying to abuse or harass you, then you can just do some self-defense. But if you fall, maybe you will hurt yourself. So always being with you means that you can use them anytime you need. That's the precept. Like if you need it, then you don't have it. But I have it at the South Mountain Retreat, Tantric Quarter, at the temples. I can use them anytime I get on the Dharma throne. That's fine. You don't have to carry them with you. As long as you have them whenever you need them. This is important. Or at the place where you sleep, or in your room, on the altar. That's fine. That's the answer to his question. This is because of COVID. The tickets, which is the tickets that showed that sorrows of ticket, which means that there were twin tickets in the past, which mean my homeland is at one end and you're at the other end, longing for the homeland. But nowadays, due to COVID, the homeland would speak to you and say, just stay there, don't come home. In China, there was a placard. If you are sick, and if you are sick and you love your homeland, please don't come home. When the epidemic was raging then, if you love this homeland and you are sick, don't come home so that they don't move around too much and infect each other. Although you miss your homeland, you stay there and don't come home. Someone said, he told the landlord, the one upstairs kept knocking and knocking and knocking non-stop. And the landlord asked, so did he wake you up? Good thing that I was blowing on my trumpet. I did not sleep, otherwise I would have been woken up. So sometimes what you get is because of what you did. It's not that someone knocked at your room intentionally, it's because you had bothered them. So sometimes you need to think about it before you blame it on anybody. Don't just blame it on anybody very lightly. Xiaoming's mom asked him to buy chicken eggs, and Xiaoming said, just wait. Why? What? Wait what? Then I might as well go myself. And Xiaoming said, that's what I'm waiting for. The doctor told the Asian, you got a very infectious disease, a mutant variant, and we will put you in a quarantined room, and there you will eat a pizza. Oh, pizza can cure my illness? And the doctor said, of course not. But that's the only one that we can serve to you from under the door. Okay, now we will expound on Lamdre. The verse, the pure division of the pure division that is moved by the bodhicitta and 5 qis. At the second main interest, one uses the 5 qis to harmonize the nectar of the 5 pure divisions. And here, one uses the 5 nectars to harmonize the pure division of the 5 qis to become power. Then blend the 5 qis of the pure division with the 5 nectars of bodhicitta to one taste and transform it to become power inside the central channel. And at the outer environment, it generates 5 powers. The earth energy transforms into power inside the central channel and can change the earth and derive accordingly for the other 3 elements. By use of the air or space energy and the bodhicitta or the source of light drops to blend and transform into power, it can make oneself and others invisible. According to the far and near causes, the Dharma practice of counting merits of the wisdom empowerment as in the verse, in quotes, obtain the empowerment of the 3 bodies and 5 wisdoms, etc., end quote. The realized perfect pure mudra of the 3 mind blessings, the wisdom and experience are duly executed. The fire of desire melts the area ambrosia inside the body's all channels, which gather at the hung syllable at the crown chakra, and the bodhicitta descends from the crown chakra to the throat chakra. At this moment, the bliss and wisdom are small and referred as the bliss wisdom. The afflictions being cut off are the reckoning ignorance and innate ignorance. At the initial cut-off, half is pacified and half is not. By this one proves that the state of no self of the bodhicharu will cut off the path of Sravakahood. When bodhicitta descends from the throat chakra to the heart chakra, the sensation of bliss gradually increases. It is referred as victorious bliss wisdom. The afflictions being cut off are two kinds of ignorance. They are pacified discriminately, but not pacified when asleep. 3 out of 4 parts are pacified, and 1 is not. Amid the state of no self, one proves that all attachments have no self-nature, and this will cut off the path of Prataka Buddhahood. The above two are based on the sensation of bliss to obtain the empowerment of the Sambhogakaya. Through its descent to the navel chakra, the bliss is indiscriminate and dignified, referred as the wisdom of abandoning bliss. The afflictions being cut off are all pacified in sleep. It cuts off the path of bodhisattvahood, and by pacifying all conceptualizations, one attains the empowerment of Dharmakaya. When bodhicitta descends onto the secret chakra, the bliss and emptiness blend together, referred as innate bliss wisdom. The afflictions being cut off have been pacified. One cuts off the path of great body. Because the light drops are not solid yet, one obtains the empowerment of Nirmanakaya. This is how one obtains the empowerments of the 3 kayas. This is a repetition from what I talked about before. So it talks about when the bodhicitta leaves the brow chakra, you obtain the initial bliss. When it reaches the throat chakra, it becomes the victorious bliss or supreme bliss. When it reaches the heart chakra, so from brow chakra to the throat chakra, this section is initial bliss. From the throat chakra to the heart chakra, that's the victorious bliss. From the heart chakra to the navel chakra, that's the most superior bliss. From the navel chakra to the secret chakra, that's the innate bliss. And these are the 4 blisses, 4 kinds of bliss. What he meant, during the initial bliss, you would reach what kind of realm? And in the supreme bliss, you would reach what realm? And the most supreme bliss, what realm? And lastly, the innate bliss, what realm you would prove. That's what it talked about here. The pure division of the pure division that is moved by the bodhicitta, or source of light drops, and the 5 chis. The 5 chis, upper chi, lower chi, peripheral chi, 5 accompanying chi, and the life chi. These 5 chis are moving or circulating. And they are also pure divisions. What are the pure divisions? What is the percentage of your purity? So one uses the 5 chis to harmonize the nectar of the 5 pure divisions. And what is the nectar? And one uses the 5 nectars to harmonize the pure divisions of the 5 chis to become power. So when you combine nectar and chi, you would generate power. And 5 different kinds of powers. And blend the 5 chis of the pure division with the 5 nectars of bodhicitta, and transform it to become power inside the central channel. And it would generate 5 powers externally. The earth energy transforms into power inside the central channel. So transfer into power in the central channel and can change the earth. Derive accordingly for the other three elements. By the use of air or space energy and the bodhicitta to blend in and transform into power, it can make oneself and others invisible. So it's a kind of transformation. And where does the power come from? It's explained here. That's because of the blending of the 5 qis with the 5 nectars. That's the meaning of this piece. And then you receive the empowerment of the 3 kayas or 3 bodies. Nirmana kaya, Sambhoga kaya, Dharma kaya. Those are the 3 kayas or 3 bodies. And what is the 5 wisdoms? The 5 wisdoms of the Buddhas. The Buddhas of the equal Dharma nature. I've forgotten. I don't understand what you're saying. Dispositional, the wisdom of the dispositional nature of the Dharma realm. Sometimes, all of a sudden, I forgot. The wisdom of the dispositional nature of the Dharma realm, a great mirror-like wisdom, the wisdom of marvelous observation, the wisdom of the nature of equality, and the wisdom of accomplishing all actions. So 3 kayas and 5 wisdoms. Sometimes I go blank. And it happens to young people too sometimes, not just to the old people. Normally you remember them very well and then it's shorted for a bit sometimes. So that's the empowerment of the 3 kayas and 5 wisdoms. So the dual execution of wisdom and expedience and the fire of desire melts the area ambrosia. I've taught about this before. When you're doing the dual execution, the water and fire will be merging, blending. The water will descend, the fire will ascend. And when you're blending, it would generate purification inside your central channel. And then when you purify a certain percentage, then a certain percentage will be purified. This will happen in dual execution. So this is the phenomena of the merging of the fire and water and purification. The fire of desire melts the area ambrosia inside the body's all channels, which gathers at the hang syllable at the crown chakra. Water is here. When you're in dual execution, the fire of desire will rise up to here and then melt the water, and then it would descend in the central channel and then to reach all branch channels, and they all will be purified and generate clear light radiance, will be luminous. And from crown chakra to the throat chakra, it's called the bliss or initial bliss or bliss wisdom. supreme wisdom, the most supreme wisdom, and innate wisdom. Innate bliss, supreme bliss. At this moment, the bliss and wisdom are small and referred as bliss wisdom. And then there's also the wisdom of abandoning bliss to cut off the path of bodhisattvahood. And so sometimes it cut off the path of practical Buddhahood. It's from the throat chakra to the heart chakra. It would cut off ignorance and afflictions. And from the heart chakra. And then from the crown to the throat chakra, you cut off the reckoning ignorance and innate ignorance. And here it cuts off the practical Buddhahood, here it cuts off the Bodhisattvahood, and here it cuts off the Sravakahood. Because Sravaka, Pratika Buddha, Bodhisattva, Sravakas or arhatships cut off, Pratika Buddhahood being cut off, and then Bodhisattvahood being cut off, and then lastly Buddhahood. That's what it meant here. All these three parts I have talked about in the past. When your body chakra descends together with the inner fire, and when it reaches a certain state, it would cut off certain things like afflictions or ignorance or reckoning ignorance or Sravakahood or Pratika Buddhahood or Bodhisattvahood. And lastly, you attain Buddhahood. That's what it meant for this whole excerpt. That's all for today. Om Mani Padme Hum.